This is Still a Part of Us, a podcast where moms and dads share the story of their child who was stillborn or who died in infancy. I'm Winter Red.
And I'm Lee Red. And on this episode, Winter and I are talking to you guys about how we have a couple strategies on how to not just survive the holidays, but enjoy them.
As a word of caution to our listeners, this discussion contains emotional triggers of stillbirth and infant loss. Please keep yourself emotionally and mentally healthy and seek help if needed. Hope this helps someone out there. Lee.
Winter.
Hi, how's it going?
Doing okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, how are you?
We're not too bad. We
got dumped on snow-wise.
We did. It feels very holiday-ish right now.
It does. This is the wrapping up of Thanksgiving, and Utah was hit with quite a winter storm.
Yeah. And it really does make me feel all like ready for the holidays. But we went to our grief support group this week, actually.
We did.
And this is Share Parents. It's a national organization that has grief support groups and lots of different programs. They usually do walks of remembrances and such. And our group, actually, the one that we have really enjoyed going to and have gotten to know the moderators and the other people that attend, they were talking specifically about surviving the holidays. I think it was kind of phrased that way, like surviving the holidays.
Yeah, which some people need, and some people are past the I'm just surviving. I just need to get through it. And some people are. I think this is our second year of holidays. First year for us really was, for me at least, it was I just need to get through this.
I don't remember very much of the holidays last year.
I don't remember the holidays much either.
So as just a little bit of background, both Lee and I are Christian. And so we celebrate Christmas. And so that's just a little bit of context. So, I mean, you can imagine how tricky and maybe hard it is to talk about the birth of Christ and having maybe just lost a baby, whether it be stillborn or after birth, that it's still very hard to deal with that when there's so much focus on birth, right? Yeah. It's hard.
The miraculous birth of Jesus, and when we ourselves experience something else.
Yeah.
So
we were kind of talking beforehand. We really wanted this to be kind of a discussion. We'd love to hear what other people have done. I'm hoping that others will write in and let us know what your tactics have been in the past. But we wanted to share a few different things. We're going to first of all cover how I'm going to survive, how I'm going to deal with the holidays. Like, what are you going to do to take care of yourself? What do you think, Lee?
I think that's wonderful. We sort of have two
suggestions each, yeah.
And my first one, I started doing this with our daughter. I love Haribo Happy Colas.
Those are like these little gummy candies?
Little gummy candies, and they come in a pack, and I could down a pack all by myself quite readily. I can do it quite fast.
And they are in the shape of little bottles of cola, like not Coca-Cola, but cola drink. Yeah. And they taste kind of like cola also. So, sorry, I just wanted to give people context.
Oh, yeah. If you've never had a Happy Cola, I highly recommend going out and buying a Haribo Happy Cola, and they are quite delicious. But I've often thought to myself as I'm eating them, oh, how wonderful would this have been to share with our son, Brannan? And then I realized I could still share them with my daughter who she just had a birthday not too long ago, and I was like, she's old enough to eat these with me. And so now it gives me an excuse to buy this snack, this candy that I love, and I'm able to share it with her. And like one way for me to have self-care is to share something that I love with somebody. And it just happens that I have a little monster who would eat the candy with me. And
Yeah.
but if you have a significant other or a friend or a coworker, buy a snack that you would have wanted to share with your child and share it with somebody.
I like that. And also it's you getting a chance to enjoy the holidays because there's a lot of yummy things to share, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a lot of yummy things that are given to people. I myself, I have some particular items that I don't like to eat. And so this gives me an excuse to go and get something that I personally absolutely love. So
Nice.
So, yeah, that's one thing. Winter, what is a strategy that you have?
So if you know me personally, you know that I'm a little bit of a go-getter and I like to do #all the things. I think Lee can attest to that.
A little bit.
Our calendar is usually booked pretty solidly because I like to do things, sign up for things, get together with people. Like we're always doing the things, all the things. And the holidays are even like they're on steroids when I want to do all the things because there's so much to do. There's so many things to make quote unquote memories with your family. You can go see lights. You can go have hot chocolate. You can make a gingerbread house. There's just so many things you can do and holiday parties and all that jazz. And so last year, that was one of the things that I think we were pretty cognizant of is that we had to not do all the things because you need to give yourself some room to break down if you need to be sad, to be okay with being away from people because you need that time to mourn and to grieve. And the same thing this year. I mean, I would say we have a few things lined up for the year, but we don't have a ton of things. It's not, people get crazy, like Pinterest crazy on all the things that they feel like they need to do. And as a mom, you kind of feel that guilt or that pressure, that anxiety to get all of it done. And it's probably not going to happen, all of it. So just do the things that you feel like would make the most difference. Like this year, we're probably going to try and make a gingerbread house because Lucy really wants to do that. And I was like, that could just be a fun little something. And that's probably the extent of our holiday traditions for the year. Pretty lame, but I feel really good about that too.
Yeah, in all reality, all the little trinkets that, all the crafts and everything like that, do we really remember them in a year or two?
No.
So, I agree with Winter. Save yourself the headache now and simplify.
Yeah. You don't have to do all the things. And that means like, making things and doing things, advent calendars, blah, blah, blah. You don't have, or going to all the parties. It's also being involved in all the things. You don't have to go to all the holiday parties. You don't have to. It's okay.
Yeah,
we give you permission. We give you
choose.
permission not to go. If you need permission from somebody, we'll give you the permission.
We'll write you a doctor's note. Winter, tell them about making chocolates this year.
So the Reds have actually a tradition of making homemade chocolates, hand-dipped chocolates. And I'm talking like creamy fondant centers and caramels and that type of thing. And we're talking like old school candy making techniques. Like it's been passed down from your great grandfather.
I do believe so, yeah.
And so we have been involved. We've actually we've made our own centers. We've made our own caramels. We've made our own toffee before. And it's been so fun. It's really time intensive. And then this year we're like, how do we feel about it?
Well, we were like, oh, let's do it.
Yeah,
and
this was early on. It was like in October we were talking about it.
And I don't think we had the energy to do it. I don't think we just said, we can't do it this year.
Yeah. And it was fine. And
it was fine.
And that was perfectly fine. We felt settled about it. So just be okay. Give yourself permission to be settled about not doing all the things or even the traditions, the traditions that you do in your family. You don't have to do all those either. It's fine.
Yeah. Skipping a year or two is not going to kill anybody.
Nope. Yep. And I think
we saved ourselves 50 pounds of
chocolate.
Chocolate that I would have eaten
Very
myself.
good chocolate.
So.
Okay, Lee, what about another thing that you're doing for self-care this holiday season?
So another thing that I would thought, in some of my counseling, I have become a little bit more honest about my feelings, and this one's sort of you have to pick your battles. But sometimes when people say, "Oh, how you doing?" I've been trying to be more honest. I'm not necessarily going to tell the random Joe Schmo on the street, "Oh, it's hard today." But I'm not just going to blanket say, "Doing great. Oh, nothing's the matter." And, sometimes I just as easily say, "Yeah, I'm okay today." Or, "Yeah, everything's okay." The wonderful word "okay" isn't necessarily like everything's great or everything's bad, but
it's pretty neutral.
Yeah, it's neutral. And I feel that it's a little bit more honest about my feelings.
Yeah.
And depending on who it is, sometimes I will like, "Hey, today is a hard day." Or, "Yeah, today's actually a really good day."
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite phrases for when it's just a random person's like, "It is what it is."
That's a good response.
Yeah.
And it's tricky, I think, because at this time of the year, everybody's expecting you to be happy, right?
Oh yeah, look at all this beautiful stuff that's happening around you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. It is what it is.
It is what it is, and that's not a bad thing, is to be okay with your responses.
Yeah. A little bit more honesty, and then it also feels, for me, it feels better. I'm not having to lie. I'm not having to expand the truth either, but I don't have to lie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That helps me.
I like that a lot.
Thank you. Winter, do you have one last one for?
I do. So you guys, I did not realize how much anger I had until I started working out. And so this is my prescription for dealing with it in this holiday season. I have found that I have actually picked up on doing some, like, a warm up of running. And I don't know if you've ever run before. I would highly encourage it if you can physically do it, but pounding it out on the pavement or on a treadmill is really therapeutic. And then the other thing I've started to do is weightlifting. You guys, I'm not by any means a weightlifter type.
She looks like she's part of the entertainment wrestling industry.
We won't name the name, but no, I'm not.
No, she does not look anything like a roided out person.
No, but I just want to say that I have a good friend who gave me a weightlifting routine that she does. And so she sent it over to me, and it was so, so helpful. So thanks, April. That really was awesome. But I just go and do my 5 to 6 to 8 exercises. I can't remember how many are per, but if you've ever, once again, you kind of like, when you're squatting, when you're pushing, when you're lifting, that gets I have this phrase, angergy, which is angry energy. So sometimes you just need to get it out, and working out helps with that. And there's quite a few studies on that. So I would recommend, if you can even just go out for a walk or do something to move your body. I remember when we first came home, we have this little thing on our refrigerator that the grief support group, I guess it was a social worker that gave it to us, but it's a little magnet that said 10 things you should do as a grieving parent. Make sure that you do every single day. And one of those things was, did you get 10 minutes of exercise today, whether that was a walk or something? And going through this little list of things that we were supposed to do every single day helped. And so I've really tried to incorporate trying to get some exercise every single day because it just helps my mental and emotional state considerably. So I would encourage you to exercise if you can, even just for a few minutes. It can just be walking. It can be lifting weights. If you need to get some angry energy out, you can totally do that. So, but yeah, that would be my last tip for taking care of yourself this holiday season.
So those are our tips for your personal care. And then we have a couple tips on how to, how would you say it, dear? Start a holiday tradition for yourself, or?
Yeah, well, we were talking about like, how do we celebrate Brannan?
Celebration, yeah.
How do we celebrate Brannan, or how do we incorporate him into our traditions, our holiday traditions, and what can we do in order to not forget him? Because it does seem so sad to be like, oh gosh, we have these holidays and he's not here to open a present. He's not here to have some of the candy that we made or whatever it happens to be. Like, he's not here. So how are we doing it? How are we celebrating Brannan, or creating a new memory, or creating a tradition at this holiday season?
So one thing that I thought about is we actually bring up Brannan. I don't think we emphasize him in family gatherings and stuff, but I think we talk about him in a healthy amount and in a healthy respect. And I know when we go to family parties and there's a lot of extended family, they don't necessarily know how to approach us.
Yeah.
And talk about situations, or even if they like some of my relatives, it's hard to talk. They have a hard time talking with us because they don't know how to respond to us. And if we, especially myself, if I give them like, a carte blanche, like, hey, this is our son, and I bring up Brannan, they don't have to feel that it's a taboo topic.
Yeah.
And there has been times when I've explained the situation to some of my extended family, and so it's nice just to give them a pass, or I don't know, give them away. Just as I bring up Brannan, as I talk about Brannan, that gives them a permission.
Yeah.
Permission to say what they need to say, and then not necessarily talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And and that's one thing that I've thought has been a good celebration for him.
Yeah. Just not forgetting about him. Not I think it's really it says a lot about our family members that they are extremely aware of us and aware of Brannan, and they bring him up, and they bring him up a lot. And I think it's not out of control bringing it up, but they are very good about like asking how we're doing, and then also like, oh yeah, just I don't know, in little ways they bring it up, and I think it's great. I think it's great too. Winter, what is one way that you celebrate our son? So we have last year, this is one thing that I took from some good friends of ours. Actually, they were on the podcast, Lindsay and Matt. They talked about their daughter, Sadie, and she was stillborn, and she passed away due to a cord accident. And I'll put a link in the show notes to their episodes, but if you get a chance, they are incredibly touching and incredibly powerful interviews. But Lindsay posted something on Facebook last year, and they had just moved. They were back in their hometown. They were living overseas, and they were home for the holidays for the first time in a while. And she was super excited. They put up a tree for their daughter, and they put up candy canes that people could take when they visited Sadie. And they also, I think they hung up some, I don't know what they're called, Lee.
When I made them as kids, it was peanut butter and seeds slathered on a pine cone.
Yeah, so it's just like she had these, I think, seed balls or something, so the birds could come and visit her too. Like, it was really, like, it was a very giving, it felt super giving. Everything, people could come, the birds could come. Like, it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
So we did something similar with Brannan last year. We got him a little kind of miniature Christmas tree. And
we decorated it
also with pieces of candy people could take. And that was super fun to do. Lee sewed a really awesome.
I hot glued a really awesome.
Was it hot glued?
I hot glued it.
He made a really awesome stocking out of bits of felt.
Yes.
And that's where we put a lot of the candy so people could come and get some. And we had candy canes, and people could take them and visit him, because it was just and we put a little invitation out to people. If you want to go visit Brannan, make sure you take a piece of candy over the holidays. And I thought that was really sweet and special. We'll do the same thing because we have his little tree out and ready to go. We're going to go put it up here shortly. And we just have some little solar lights on them. They charge during the day, and it lights up at night. And it's wonderful. Lee's making fun of me because I couldn't remember the name of solar lights a second ago.
It's okay.
So yeah, it's just a really, and I'll actually put a link in the show notes with a picture of our little Christmas tree. But we're going to stick that on in his little bench. He has a little bench, and we're going to put it in one of his little planters that we have. So
it was also nice because we'd go over to look at the tree, and people had hung ornaments on it too.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
And they just little handcrafted things that said, "We miss you, Brannan," and stuff like that. So it was really touching.
Yeah.
So
it was really sweet. And it invites people to be a part of, something that you may be struggling with still. So invite people to come. I think that's exciting. I think it's fun to have people involved in your little family life. So
yeah. To piggyback on this, one of the other ways we celebrate our son, we have a stocking hung for him, and then we have also made a little tree angel for our Christmas tree, and it has his picture on it.
If you don't know how to make a tree angel, it involves a paper plate, a little picture of the head. You need the head of your baby.
And then a paper towel roll or a toilet paper roll. And you make the body of an angel out of the paper plate. You glue the picture of the head on the back. And then the paper towel, toilet paper is what will slide over a branch.
On your Christmas tree.
It's
really cute.
And so we have our two kids as angels on top of our tree, and
watching over us.
Yeah. So those two things I think is a wonderful celebration.
I know, it's so cute. I love it.
Winter has her own stocking.
Lucy has her own
stocking. I have my own stocking, and Brannan has his own stocking.
I really want to point out one thing so Lee and Brannan's stockings are a pair, and we got them in Iceland many years ago when we first visited, and we were like, we're going to get a couple of these just because. And it worked out perfectly for Brannan. So,
yeah.
So I'm going to piggyback on yours. One more thing, because one of our Christmas traditions, we do not send out Christmas cards.
We don't.
We are not those people. We're not that organized people. However, we do make a Christmas video. And that's just we find a great song that we love that's Christmas related. And then we put all of these pictures or videos of the year that has occurred. And Brannan's going to be in the video. I know that sounds silly, but we don't have a ton of pictures or anything obviously of him, but he got his little headstone bench put in this year. So we're going to have that in our video. We're going to, every time I went to his grave, I usually snapped a photo just because we go often and say hello to him a lot.
And we also have a little stuffed red panda, and that is our representation of him. So sometimes he appears in some of our photos.
Yep. And I was going to say, if you're going to take family photos, that's another way that's really a sweet way of kind of having a little physical representation of him being in your family, if he's in the family photos or if he's just kind of around. I know that once again, Lindsay, who we interviewed, she has a little bunny that she has in the pictures. And then I think Emily and Dustin, they have something similar where, there's a little stuffed animal, that same thing kind of follows them in pictures and different instances so that they can have their kids as part of their life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
and I've really greatly appreciated every single year of our marriage we've been making these videos.
Yeah.
But last year, It was I would say it's a sad video.
Oh my gosh, it was so depressing.
It was the song I thought fit the year.
Yeah, it was Sufjan Stevens, right?
Yeah.
What was the
Sister Winter.
Sister Winter? You guys, it's
a very
it's heart-wrenching.
It's a touching, heart-wrenching song.
Oh, it'll just kill you, man. But it was appropriate.
It was very appropriate, and I thought that was a wonderful tribute. That was a good celebration in the sense of it was a hard celebration, but it was a beautiful tribute to our family.
And whenever we do that, we kind of think about the year. How did the year go? And we've been mulling over which song we should actually use this year, because it's been a sad year.
Yeah.
But it's also been an okay year. Like, we have had a bit of healing, I think. Anyway, more to come on that.
Maybe we'll link all of our past years, and then
that's a lot of videos.
You could watch last year's and just bawl.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
And then what's the third topic we're going to talk about?
Our last topic is how
we can.
Well, I was going to say, if you happen to be listening to this podcast and you have someone, you're not the person that's lost, but you have someone in your life that has lost a baby, whether it be stillbirth or infant loss. This is something that just a little piece of advice, just a small thing. We're just going to give a tip each, and that has helped us and that we've seen in our lives that has been very impactful for us and helped us as a family that has lost a baby. So, Lee, would you like to share, or should I share?
I could go first.
Okay.
So, one of my sisters a couple days ago sent us a text, and she was just saying, hey, I just want to let you know that we are pregnant, and this coming family celebration, we're going to announce it. And then she went on to say, we understand if you don't want to be there, or if you are going to, she gave us pretty much permission to have our emotions and do whatever we wanted. She said that she and her husband are not going to hold it against us on how we act or how we react or how we treat them. And she was like, we love you, and we understand. And that was very, first of all, it was very touching to us that she would think of us and think of our feelings and think of our situation. Of course, we are happy for all of our family and all of our siblings and all of our friends. We're not begrudging. We're not wishing ill. But it was very thoughtful that they took the time and said, hey, look, we want to prep you, and we understand if you don't want to be part of this. And I think how do I put this? It was exactly how we would wanted somebody to announce to us.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Are you crying?
Yeah.
There's no crying in baseball.
So one thing that she wrote in her text, and then she reiterated when we talked to her, she's like, we don't want you to, we wanted to forewarn you because we didn't want you to have to deal with your feelings right then and there. Like, if we made the announcement at the family party, when we were at Thanksgiving or whatever, we didn't want you to have to you're staring down the barrel of a gun kind of a feeling. Yeah. And I appreciated that because that was so considerate. And I would say that if you are, if you're pregnant, or if you know somebody in your family that's going to be announcing a pregnancy, that kind of thing is like, you're basically throwing a grenade into the mix and hoping that, somebody's going to blow up, and that's going to probably be that person that just lost their baby. So, talk to them beforehand, like our Lee's sister did, and brother-in-law, because that right there was so gracious and so kind. It was extremely kind.
Yeah. It was kind. It was that was perfectly put. It was kind.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Because nobody wants to be caught like,
Yeah.
what?
It's like one of those Western movies when they walk into the saloon and the ragtime music stops and everybody's head turns. You know, you don't want that situation where it's like, oh my goodness, how are Lee and Winter going to respond to this?
Yeah.
Record scratch.
Basically.
You know, it was gracious and it was kind for them to just, you know, it was like the week before, just prep us.
Yeah.
And I thought we've very well kept it under wraps. We didn't tell anybody.
Yes.
We didn't tell anybody.
We were really good. And then they made the official announcement. I just want to say that them sending a text first also allowed us to be with our feelings for that little bit before we called them. Because we called them afterward to tell them how we were feeling and have a discussion with them, which was so good. But the fact that they sent us a text was super helpful.
Yeah.
And then we had the option to talk to them when we were ready to talk to them. So I don't know. That worked for us. I don't know how that would work for other people. Just know your family, right? I guess kind of feel that out, but don't spring that on somebody that's just barely had a baby loss. That's rough. Mm-hmm. It's just really rough. So
that is my advice. So Winter, what would be your last advice to somebody who has a lost parent in their life?
So with the holidays, especially, holiday parties and holiday dinners and stuff don't come together. Like we saw Thanksgiving and everybody pitched in and that's why it worked, right? Like that's how things get off the ground. And so, however, last year was 6 months after we had lost Brannan, and your mother, Kathy, who I admire and love and respect so much, she gave us a pass. She didn't expect a lot from us. I know that sounds terrible, but
she hasn't expected a lot from me my whole life. No. But this is a different type of she didn't expect.
No, she did not expect a lot from us in regards to, like, we weren't the ones bringing the ham or the turkey or anything like that. It was like
we didn't host.
We didn't
have the main course.
No. And I don't even think we had anything that was super important to bring either. It could have been there or it could have not been there. Yeah. And she basically said, if you want to come, great. If you don't want to come, that's fine. If you want to come for a little bit and head out after half an hour, great. We would love to see you. But if it doesn't work out because of how you guys are feeling, that's fine. And she gave us a pass. She gave us permission. And that was a relief because once again, there's a lot of expectations around the holidays and people can feel a lot of anxiety and just pressure to live up to everybody's standards and things that they need to be done. And if you have somebody that has lost, just give them a break. They be the one, if they usually host, be the one to invite them over, or once again, just don't expect too much. I mean, just give them a pass. It's not, I mean, if there's an annual sledding tradition, whatever, just invite them and give them if you don't feel like doing it, don't come. It's totally fine. Or if you want to just sit on the sideline and drink hot chocolate the entire time, great. Whatever it is, just give them a pass. I was super grateful for that permission to not have to live up to all the expectations, because there are so many expectations during the holidays. Just help that family out. Tell them that they're welcome to come, but you're okay if they don't.
Yeah, I remember getting that permission from my mom.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, I think she even said if you want to just drop Lucy off
and not she did.
Show up.
Yeah.
And it was very gracious to say we want you there, but we understand if you can't be there.
Yeah. And the other thing just to kind of realize is that, I mean, you might be thinking that they are ruining the party or that they're not going to, like, that sounds terrible, but I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of high expectations for the way their family should be or how the party should look or whatever. And if they're not there, you're going to ruin it.
And everybody has to be happy. And if you're not happy at the party, it's going to be the end of the world.
Yeah. And it's just remember that they might be ruining your party by not coming, but just realize that their lives had just been ruined by not having their baby there. So just keep that in mind and take a chill pill and enjoy the holidays for what they are. So anyway, those are my 2 bits.
I think those are wonderful 2 bits.
So if you guys have any awesome holiday tips on how to survive the holidays and enjoy the holidays after you've lost a baby, we'd love to hear it. Send us an email to stillapartofus@gmail.com. And we will try and get that on here in the next episode if you can send us a quick email or a voicemail. I don't know if we do voicemail. We don't do voicemail.
Yeah, we don't do voicemail.
Just send us an email. stillapartofus@gmail.com.
Winter?
Yeah.
A huge thanks to you for coming on this episode with me.
Thanks. Lee, one last thing. Can I just interrupt and include one last thing? So this episode is coming out on December 1st. If you're listening to the first day it comes out. And this Tuesday, December 3rd, is Giving Tuesday. And I know a lot of people at this time of the year want to give a little bit more to whatever charity and such. If you would like to help and become a patron of this podcast, you can go to our website, stillapartofus.com, and you can find our link there to go ahead and donate some money to help with the production costs of this podcast.
Yeah, we're not begging you. If you can, if you can't, like Winter said, we're bootstrapping this ourselves, and we're just appreciative that all the support we've gotten through the people who've come on and interviewed, all the people who've sent us emails and support. It's been a wonderful support to us thus far. But if you do want to donate, we would love to have you support this podcast because we believe that it's doing good.
I agree. Okay, well, happy holidays, you guys. We do have an episode coming out on December 15th as well. And if you have any holiday tips on celebrating and surviving the holidays after your loss, send it to us and we'll include that in our episode then. And then also, if you want to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, we will be reading some of those in just our next episode. I'm excited about. We're going to talk a little bit more about saying thank you and being grateful.
Does it have to be Apple Podcast?
No, it can be anywhere you leave a rating and review. But unfortunately, Apple Podcasts is the main place. You can do it on Stitcher as well. And I think on Spotify and maybe on Pandora.
Wherever you're listening to this podcast.
If you can give us a rating and review, we would love that. Because I know that there's a lot of people that don't have, they're on Android, not on Apple. So, because we are both on Android. Lee's looking at me just laughing. He's like, come on, Winter, you got to give us.
Come on.
Anyway. So thank you so much for coming on today. Lee, thanks for chatting with me. We don't ever get to do this.
We don't.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, that's why it's falling apart at the at the very end.
We're a disaster. We're a disaster. Yeah. Anyway,
head on over to our website, stillpartofus.com. We're not really going to have too many show notes, but we have mentioned a couple things here, so you can get the show notes for what we have mentioned. You could sign up for our email newsletter. It will be coming out here soon-ish. Again, if you would like to make a donation or become a patron, you could find the page there for that. And lastly, you can get in touch with us there if you want to share your child's story with us on the show.
And this show was produced and edited by us, Winter and Lee Red.
That's right.
Thanks to Josh Woodward for letting us use his song, Vanishing Note. You can find him at joshwoodward.com. Lastly, subscribe to this podcast. That's actually going to be the most important thing you do. And share it with a friend that might need it and tell them to subscribe. Why? Because people need to know that even though our babies are no longer here with us, they're still a part of us.
I like long walks, especially when they are taken by people who annoy me. Fred Allen.